Every game day, a player goes down. Cards comes in, the locker room goes quiet. You hear about the injuries, ACL tears, Achilles rupture, shoulder dislocations, hematomas, concussions, but no one actually explains to you what's happening inside the body when these injuries happen. I'm Dr. Zikky. I'm a board-certified musculoskeletal radiologist, which is a radiologist that specializes in bones and joints. Now, I look at these exact injuries every single day at work. Today, I'm breaking down the biggest injuries from this past week and showing you the x-rays and MRIs of what these injuries can look like, because you deserve to understand more than just he's out for the season. The first is Biadasz. The Chargers just lost their $30 million center, Biadasz, to a season-ending knee injury. And when you understand what actually happens inside a knee when a 300-pound lineman collapses on it, you understand why this is serious. When a player gets hit from the side of his knee, the knee gets forced inward. That's called a valgus stress. Now, think of it like your knee bending in a direction that it was never designed to bend. The first thing that snaps is the ACL. That's the ligament that stops the shin bone from sliding too far forward. But with a player of that size, that force doesn't stop there. It keeps traveling. It tears the MCL, which is the medial collateral ligament on the inside of the knee. And it often crushes the meniscus as well. Those are the cartilage pad that act as shock absorbers of your knee. Not one injury, 3 injuries. It's actually called the unhappy triad. An ACL injury, MCL injury, and then a meniscus tear. And that's why the surgery for this kind of injuries can be very complex. The surgeon can't just fix one thing. They have to reconstruct the ACL, repair the MCL, and then address the meniscus tear all at once. That's a long surgery and even longer rehab. Realistically, Biadasz is looking at about 9 to 12 months of rehab. He's on the injured reserve now. The best case scenario, you're seeing him back 2027 NFL preseason. The second is Wright. Cleveland Browns defensive end Wright is probably done for the season with an Achilles tendon rupture. Now, the players would typically describe this injury as it felt like someone kicked them in the back of their heel. Here's exactly why that happens. The Achilles tendon is the thickest tendon in your entire body. It connects your calf muscles to your heel bone. Think of it like a giant rubber band that stores mechanical energy every time that you push off the ground. Here's a problem though. In professional athletes, years of explosive movement that create microscopic damage to the tendon fibers over time. These are called micro tears. Most of the time, the body will heal those micro tears fast enough. But when the tissue has degraded from too much micro tears over time, one sudden push-up creates more tension than the weakened fibers can handle. Then the tendon tears completely. When that happens, you can actually hear a pop and feel a physical gap where the tendon was supposed to be. The players immediately feel like someone kicked them from behind. They'll look around and there's no one there. That's the Achilles tendon rupture. Wright had an MRI to confirm the diagnosis. This is what an Achilles tendon rupture looks like on MRI. You can see disruption of the tendon, which is now retracted, and this gap between the retracted tendon and the heel bone. So he already went to surgery where the surgeon stitched the tendon ends back together to heal under very controlled tension. For an explosive athlete like a defensive end, you're looking at about 8 to 10 months of rehab. Realistic return is about May or June of 2027 to the Cleveland OTAs. Third is Brandon Donovan. Now, the Marinas infielder Brandon Donovan just went on a 7-day concussion injured list after getting hit on the head by a baseball inside of a batting cage. And what happens to the brain in that moment is something that every fan should actually understand. Now, here's the thing that most people don't know. Your brain doesn't just sit inside of your skull. It floats around in fluid. It's called CSF, or cerebrospinal fluid, like a yolk inside of an egg. Now, when a high-velocity baseball hits the skull, it creates a rapid acceleration-deceleration force. The skull stops moving almost instantly, but the brain keeps going back and forth inside the skull. It slams on the front of the skull and then bounces back and hits the back of the skull. That's called a coup-counter-coup injury. 2 impacts in 1 injury. It doesn't just cause bleeding or fractures, although those can happen. It's the chemical disruption that it causes. Neurotransmitters flood the brain unevenly. Cells in the brain stretch out. The brain's electrical signal temporarily starts misfiring. That's what causes the headaches, the dizziness, the sensitivity to light, and the brain fog that most players describe when they have a concussion. Now, here's where the MLB's protocol matter. Donovan can't just say that he feels fine and starts playing. He has to pass a neurocognitive test and complete 5 progressive exertion stages completely symptom-free before he's cleared to play again. If everything goes perfectly fine, he might be back early to mid-September. But concussions are pretty unpredictable. If the symptoms linger, they might push it further to late September or even October. Fourth is Brandon Woodruff. This one is genuinely very rare. The Brewers pitcher, Brandon Woodruff, was supposed to have shoulder surgery. His medical team just announced that they are canceling the surgery because his shoulder healed on its own. I know, let me explain how this is actually possible. Now, your shoulder is like a ball and socket joint, but unlike the hip, it's a very loose ball and socket joint. It's the most loose joint and the most likely to dislocate. What keeps everything stable in that joint is the suction force of the acetabulum, right? But also the glenohumeral capsule, which is basically a thick envelope of connective tissue that wraps around the entire shoulder joint. Keeps everything stable. Now, when a pitcher tears that capsule, it compromises the stability. The joint becomes unstable. The ball part of the ball and socket joint starts sliding around in the sockets. This puts it at risk for dislocation or a complete tear of the capsule and then a dislocation. Normally you fix this with surgery, but here's what likely happened with Woodruff. He stopped throwing completely. Total rest. And because the body's blood supply can reach those damaged tissues without the constant stress of throwing interrupting the healing process, collagen fibers actually start bridging back together to heal the tear. The tissue basically knits itself back together. This is not very common, but it's anatomically possible, and it requires absolute, complete commitments to rest. No cheating, no premature throwing sessions, the kind of rest that most athletes struggle to maintain. Now, instead of surgery, Woodruff goes straight into a progressive throwing program, building velocity and strength gradually. Target return back to the game is probably mid to late September of this year, right before the Brewers potentially need him the most. Do you think he makes it back in time to impact the playoff race? Drop your thoughts in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe for more game day and post-game discussions of the injuries. See you in the next video.